about comics. Let's talk about comics. Let's talk about comics. Let's talk about comics. Hey friends, how you doing? It's your boy Charles here with another edition of Tales from the Discount Bin. Today we're going to be looking at Vampi Digital from 2001, Anarchy Studios, which is a subsidiary of Harris Comics, which you might notice that Vampirella Strikes back there on my wall. That is from Harris Comics. I believe they had properties at least in the mid-90s through the early 2000s. This book is from 2001, and here in 2025, it is just as beautiful and contemporary as I imagine it was back then. This stacks up against anything art and writing wise that you get to see today in comics. If you're not familiar with Vampi, it is a take on Vampirella that is more futuristic. In my past experiences with the Vampi books, they're more cartoony than the more photorealistic style here. But in this book, what they did is it is some kind of digital 3D art collaboration that, in my view, is very ahead of its time. I remember I cannot remember the book, but I was excited about it because the previews looked great. It was one from Dynamite Comics, and they were attempting something similar, but it really didn't appeal to me. All of the art looked very, very stiff and soulless and digital, and the way that everything was laid out was just very ugly and robotic. But here they do a great job with the digital art, yet adding those human touches that make it appealing, that make it art. You know, it's not soulless, even though it is digital. And even the way they put it together here, let's talk about the creative team. You know, usually you have your writers, your artists, your inkers, your letterers, but here, Brian Haberlin did the story. He was the writer. And then Brian Haberlin with George Deep did the 3D art. And Mike Conley and Kelly O Graphics did the lettering. And let's see. They also did some digital posts. And then we have David Bogart and Maureen McTeague that did the edits. And so it's put together a lot different from what we're used to. Here's, in this back panel here, here's a look of what I am used to from the Vampi comics. And then if we look at this art here, this is what we're getting in Vampi Digital. So you can see we have a very digital, photorealistic take on Vampirella. And one thing that I find very, very creative is that we have the trademark Vampirella look, but without the revealing swimsuit going on. What it is if you look, it has that look, but it's a bodysuit suit that zips up in the front that is made to look almost like the classic Vampirella swimsuit, even though it's a full bodysuit. And so I thought that was a very creative and practical take on the art for this book. As well as another thing I liked is that this was a full story in one issue. One of my biggest complaints with comics nowadays is that unless you're getting a palette cleanser or something in between big arcs, you don't generally have these books that you can pick up and get a whole story in one issue, and you can with this book. And so that is another plus for me. In the story, you know, we start with her speeding around on an unseasonably hot day. She refers to it as an Indian summer, and it's on this air bike type thing. And before you know it, she is beset upon by some kind of sniper who shoots her with something, and you find out that it is a dart. Is it a tranquilizer? Is it poison? We don't know. We do eventually find out that it is poison. And she has to go through these three, I guess you would call them trials, if you will. But she finds out that she has been poisoned, and the antidote, it comes in 3 different pills, and she'll have to deal with 3 different people in order to get the poison out of her system. And so it adds a ticking clock element to an intriguing story. And she finds herself lured into this alley into a physical hologram. And so she realizes that the world that she's in is artificial, yet it is still dangerous, which is another very interesting take that I have not seen in science fiction and comics before. And the first person she has to deal with is a mercenary who is, again, a simulation, part of this physical hologram, and he kind of lays out what's going on and what she's gonna have to do to get the rest of the antidote. And to amuse himself, he he does something cocky and arrogant, and he says, "You know, I'll give you this first pill if you slaughter somebody in this bar." The environment they were in was a bar, and he's like, "I've never seen a vampire before. I want to see you do what you do." And in this moment of foolishness, she took advantage of it, shot him, took the pill, and she's back on to the next trial, which we find out is a dragon, another physical hologram that she also as well deceives into stealing the second antidote pill before escaping, because this hologram was way too powerful. Like I said, remember, they're holograms, but they're physical. And so while they are not real, the threat is real, which is so created by the writing team. I haven't seen it before or since. And the final boss is someone they call the White Lady. She is a pale, kind of almost Vampirella-esque figure. Almost, if you do the reverse effect on Vampirella, that's what she appears to be. And you find out that she is seeking revenge for something that happened at this lab where Vampirella saved a bunch of people. And during that event, the person that she's getting revenge for ended up dying, and she blamed Vampirella. But yeah, she ends up swallowing the last antidote almost as a taunt to Vampirella. Which, if you know Vampirella, the character, the last thing you want to do is put something that she needs in your body, because it's going to end ugly. But we find out that this White Lady is actually yet another. She's not a hologram. She is a robot, an AI robot, if you will, that has gone rogue. And this person that she's getting revenge for is her creator, who was also not a good guy. And he ended up dying in the event, which they don't really cover. It's not so much a big part of the story, is just kind of what gets the ball rolling. And so she dispatches of this AI robot lady, takes the pill, and she is off to more adventures. So much in this book I like. Like I said, I felt like I got a steal getting this at the price I did. It was so good, so creative. A lot of innovation here, and when I looked at the date it was put out, 2001, it is beyond belief to me. And so I would suggest, signing up for Midtown Comics mailing list, because they send out reminders and updates on sales that they have all the time. And you can get all kinds of great deals from them. Their flash sales are a great steal, and sometimes you can get a hidden gem like Vampi Digital from Anarchy Studios / Harris Comics. So that's it for today. That's the edition of Tales from the Discount Bin. Go check out definitely those guys, Nucadia Comics. They always have fantastic deals on comic books. And as always, my friends at Coffee and a Comic. The back issues are a little bit limited because it's a newer store, but they still have a great collection of back issues and great prices on the new stuff. That's where I get all my new books, where you see me unboxing every week, every Wednesday on this channel. So thank you guys. I'll see you next time. Until then, keep reading them books. I'm going to.